Climbing up a mountain to experience migration. Looking for raptors at a Hawkwatch station.
Thank you for tuning into Hannah and Erik Go Birding, a podcast by birders for birders.
I'm Hannah and he's Erik.
We created this podcast to share adventures, sometimes misadventures, and opinions that we have on different birding topics. We're definitely not experts, and anything that we discuss that might be controversial, I want you to remember their own opinions that might be different from yours.
So we'll keep news kind of brief because we want to jump into it.
We have a very long recording ahead of us.
But the first thing that we want to mention is that the Global Big Day was on October 11th, and we found out that our team came in third.
Yes!
You all did incredible. We had 688 species reported from 11 countries, which was our highest number as a group ever by like 170 species. So congrats, actually 190. Congrats to you all. You did incredible. We really appreciate everyone that birded along with us. For those of you who asked about Erik's ham dinner that he had to do instead, that was pretty successful, right?
Yeah, I was in charge of hams this year.
And
so I'm normally not in charge of hams.
I heard good things about the hams too.
Yeah, so I didn't get to see anybody that was coming to enjoy the dinner, nothing. I was literally in front of the oven the entire time. Oven to the slicer as I'm, we ended up cooking, full size hams. I think it was 42 full size hams for the meal. I think we only had a couple left over. I think this is their closest guesstimate ever for how many we were going to sell.
Good job. So we'll do more of a wrap up on Global Big Day in a future episode when we get a chance to have some more results. But it was great. Thank you all. I think we're the only ones to see sooty shearwaters.
Yes.
Which was cool. There was one person, Dwayne, who submitted emus.
Emus. That was cool.
We got that. But yeah, we'll look into it a little bit more. But also we wanted to mention that on October 28th, set your calendar because eBird
will be down.
It'll be down for its annual splits and lumps and the taxonomy update.
Yeah, pretty excited for that. I saw a bunch of stuff in there that affects North America.
Yeah.
So I think the last taxonomy update was mostly a European and South America update. But this year it seems to be a lot of North American stuff. So for our lists, it'll be pretty impactful. It may not be super impactful for our European or Australian listeners or anything like that, but I'm pretty excited for it this time around.
Totally.
So we have a way for you guys to all support us, and we really appreciate when you do. We have Buy Me Coffee and Venmo. You can support the show. We don't do this for the money, but it does cost us money to operate the show. So if you guys feel the need to want to go ahead and send some money our way, Buy Me a Coffee and Venmo links are in our show notes. And we really want to thank a busy full-time mom who's a monthly supporter now on Buy Me a Coffee. So that's pretty exciting.
I think you're our first one, so thank you very much.
A busy full-time mom is. All right, so Hannah, you've got two other podcasts you do. In between episodes of Hannah and Erik Go Birding, you release Women Birders Happy Hour and Bird Nerd Book Club. So last week, you had Bird Nerd Book Club come out. You read a book and interviewed an author for that. What'd you do?
Yeah, so I had Stephen Rutt, who came out with The Seafarers a couple of years ago and has come out with other books since. He was on my episode on October 9th, and we talked about seabirds around the British Isles.
Nice. And then you also have another podcast that comes out next week, Women Birders Happy Hour. Who'd you interview for that? So
that one, I have Sheridan Simano join me, who is a birder based in Colorado and has a couple of companies that offer trips. One company that offers trips specifically for women. So that was fun to chat with her. So if you want to check out either of those podcasts, just check them out wherever you listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
So, Erik, we're going a couple places.
Yeah, so when this episode comes out, we will be in New Caledonia.
We'll be in Fiji.
We'll be in Fiji, on our way to New Caledonia in October, and then Rio Grande Valley. We're going there in November to guide at that festival again. The registration is open for that. I'm very excited for the Rio Grande Valley Birding Festival down in the southern portion of Texas.
We've been working on our trivia.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Morro Bay Bird Festival in January. Super excited about that in California, the Central California coast. Japan in February, and then Spring Chirp will be guiding at that again in April. So I'm pretty darn excited for the schedule coming up. It's a very full schedule.
Yeah. So we won't do anything all summer long.
Yeah.
So this is our in-between episode since we have 3 episodes this month. And
it's a bonus episode for the month.
Apparently. So this is not where we announce the winner or we announce the giveaway, but this is our, hey, reminder, we're doing a giveaway. Our October giveaway is graciously donated by Birding with Extension Service, which is a Texas A&M AgriLife program, and they have a voucher for a seminar and a basket of goodies for the winner of this bird nerd giveaway.
Yeah.
So by October 28th, we wanted you to submit what is your tip for transforming outdoor spaces into a haven for birds. They have a virtual seminar coming up in the middle of November, and the theme for that is Backyard Bird Paradise. So check out their seminar, and even if you don't win this Bird Nerd giveaway, it'll be a fun one to check out, so you can learn more about how to make your backyard bird friendly.
All right, so for this episode, we interviewed a bunch of people. We went and did a whole bunch of stuff, and it took up a whole bunch of recording time. So we don't want this episode to go way too long. So we're going to quickly go through an introduction.
Yeah, so I have wanted to do an episode about hawkwatching for a while because it's just such a cool thing to go out and experience hawks in their migration route.
Yeah.
And Bonney Butte is our closest hawkwatch site to where we live. And so, like Erik said, it's in Mount Hood National Forest. We drove up there. It was interesting drive. You get to a point where it said 4-wheel vehicles recommended.
Yeah.
And yes, definitely. So we got to the end of all the crazy roads and we hiked about half a mile just straight up the hill. And lo and behold, there were hawkwatchers there. So we're here at Mount Hood National Forest at Bonney Butte Hawkwatch, which it's really kind of overcast and hazy and smoky today. Normally we would apparently see more mountains than we are right now. But it is still a beautiful afternoon.
When it's a 3-mountain day up here, it's really like a 4 or 5 mountain day. Yeah.
But we're here to look for hawks. So why do hawks come through here?
It's a good question. So, yeah, we're along the Cascades right now. And as wind travels through, particularly from the northwest, it kind of creates this nice wave along Bonney Butte that raptors gravitate towards and you can catch an easy breeze on. So we'll often have almost like surfing waves. Different sets come through of different raptors, and the breeze might break around Mount Hood. So you'll have birds that can fly almost right overhead, and birds you also see off to your west and east, but up here on Bonney Butte it provides pretty good visibility to birds in 360 degrees.
So we're up here on top of a ridge. This ridge runs north and south, right?
Yes.
And so as the winds hit it, they'll be coasting on either the west side or the east side of this ridge.
Typically, yeah.
And generally we're looking north.
Yeah.
Here.
Yep.
From where we want to see birds coming from at us. All right.
What are some of the main species that you see here on the hawkwatch?
So over the 30-odd years, the most dominant species we see, the most prominent, are sharp-shinned hawks, and followed by, I don't know the order off the top of my head, but red-tailed hawks and turkey vultures.
Okay.
We also get a good lot of Cooper's hawks and occasional falcons and some rare buteos, occasionally Swainson's hawks. Later on in the season we'll get broadwings and occasionally a red shoulder, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And some bald eagles as well.
Oh yeah, and
Bald eagles. All right. And so when you say later in the season, so the season for the Hawkwatch starts at the end of August and then runs to the end of October. What's considered late season for up here? Is that September? Is that any time in October is considered late season, or October would be considered late in the season?
Yeah,
Okay.
so peak is typically end of September, first week of October, and then after that is late season.
All right, so we're just getting to the beginning of the peak right now, because today is the 29th of September.
Yeah, so like the last week of September, the beginning of October is like historically what's been peak. So we should be,
But because of the weather today, probably not going to be peak activity.
Yeah.
might not, unfortunately.
All right.
So you get up here at 9 in the morning, right? That's when y'all start, and you're here till 5?
Till 6.
Till 6.
Okay.
That's a whole nother hour of hawk watching.
Yeah.
Makes for a long day.
Yeah, so how does that work out? So there's 3 of y'all right now and a volunteer too, and a couple of folks in the banding station. How do you stagger like days off and like times that you're up here, and how does that all work?
So when we're up here for a full day. We work 6 days a week. We all get 1 day off a week, and we try to do that like midweek, between like Tuesday and Thursday, just because weekends are more busy with visitors.
Yeah.
Typically, we want to have at least. It is really nice to have 3 people at OBS, 2 people counting, and then 1 person who's able to like do interference with visitors if it gets really crazy.
Yeah.
But also, we're all counting at the same time, and a lot of the visitors who do come up either are only up here for a little bit, or sometimes are helping us count birds, which is nice, helping us spot stuff.
I imagine you have to be pretty intentional to get up here as just a random person.
It was a trek to get up.
It's a trek. You're not going to
No,
accidentally stumble upon the Bonney Butte Hawkwatch.
You would expect that, but there are so many people who come up here,
Really?
and they're like, "What are you guys doing?
Got all your chairs set up. You have scopes. What?
Like, do you just drive up that road for fun?" Like, you know,
All right.
I don't know. A lot of people will hike up here. This is like a hiking destination. So
It's a spectacular view up
yeah,
here.
it
Like
is. When it's not.
360
I imagine it
degrees
would be.
around. I mean, it's a little hazy with the smoke, a little cloudy, but it's still you can see the ridge lines all around. It's pretty spectacular out here.
Yeah.
So we spent some time, as we said, with the observation group, and then they told us they had a
Sharpshinned.
a sharpshin in the banding blind.
Yes.
And so we were like, hey, let's go that way.
Yeah, so headed over to go check out the sharpshin they had in the banding blind.
Day, so
Oh,
really
like the first
excited.
one was in the DG too?
They were both, yeah. So
Awesome.
we recently got these Dogaza nets set up, and it's been like a week and nothing's hit them yet. And then just today and yesterday, now we've had 3 Sharpies in a row, and it's pretty exciting.
You said Dogaza?
Dogaza.
Dogaza?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure.
Dogaza. Okay.
It's like a name.
It's
maybe
just the type of
someone's
net.
name. It's the type
It's
of
the
net.
inventor, probably.
The inventor of the
Probably,
net?
yeah.
Okay.
But it's like Balsha like I don't really know where that name came from either. It's just a kind of net.
Yeah.
Different from the mist nets and the bow nets that we have. Yeah.
So how does that one work differently than the mist
so
nets?
when a bird goes into it, it collapses actually. There's
Oh,
a
those
line.
lines are just barely hooked on.
They are at the bottom. The lines, like this whole net, is connected to a single line, and that is in like a little trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And if it gets enough force, the line comes out of the trigger, and the whole thing collapses.
Okay.
So that's how it should work, and it's worked pretty well. So.
Oh, nice. For 3 birds.
For
you
3
said?
sharpshins,
Alright.
yep, 3 female sharpshins. It's been pretty effective, which is great.
And that's what you got in your hand, right?
Yeah, I do. So yeah, if you guys want to come inside, it's a little dark in here, but come on in. Adam has already gone ahead and banded it, and we took tail length and a couple other things. But another important thing that we do is body condition. So we're able to tell more or less how skinny or fat the birds are, and it's a good indicator of how well they're eating. And we start by feeling the keel and like left
Okay.
or right of that. And you guys can feel as well if you want. Like the keel is that bone that goes down the middle.
Okay.
And then you can feel to the left and the right.
Oh, and how plump it is.
Yeah,
on either
exactly.
Side.
And this is actually a pretty plump bird, which is
Yeah,
good.
the keel barely sticks out at all.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
so warm, too.
Yeah.
And then we follow that up into the crop, which we gently touch. It's where they keep food before they fully digest it. And she has maybe a quarter full crop, so she's eaten, maybe recently, but not super recently. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the bird out. And she might make noise, I'm not sure yet. I don't think she's
Okay.
made noise yet. The other one was pretty loud, wasn't it? Yeah.
Pretty vocal.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so pretty.
We haven't gotten many adults, so it's
I was
really-
saying, and a nice
it's
adult
really
with
exciting.
blood red eye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So the last body condition factor that we measure is what's called wing pit fat, and they
Okay.
have a pit in their wing, and you can blow air onto it to move the feathers aside and see how full or empty it is. And I'm just going to go over here to the light to see that.
So, very healthy.
Yeah, as
Lots
far
of
as I can
fat,
tell.
no parasites.
And also just seeing an older bird is like, this bird has already gone through at least one winter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty strong bird just to be able to do that. I'll take wing cord as well. So that's more or less the length of the wing when it's in this particular position without being flattened. And the wing has a natural bow to it, and you don't want to flatten the wing like that. You want to measure that. And then that's pretty much the main things that we're looking at. Because this bird is older than a hatch year, we can go ahead and look at if it's molting. I've already looked at the tail and I didn't see any molts in the tail. We can go outside in the light to look at the wings better. And let me know, you guys, if you see anything. I'm looking for feathers that are a different color or different length. We've got that one. Yeah. So that one's being molted and the rest of them look like the same age. But because that's a new feather, the new feather and the old feathers are all adult feathers. None of them are hatch year. So, so we can more or less make generalizations about how old this bird might be. But I'm going to check the other wing just to make sure. And those...
Nothing on that one?
I don't think so. Those all look like the same age and length to me, more or less. And we also look at the body and rump feathers, because those can retain hatch year feathers as well. But I don't see... They all look like the same age to me. You really have to sift through these and search for differently aged
Are these
ones.
just like
Those are like the
coverts?
Just the
under tail or getting onto even like the chest now. Yeah.
So they're just sticking.
Those will trick you.
I'm really impressed how much she can move her head.
A very gyroscopic head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if I get my molt knowledge right, we have 2 ages of adult feathers on the wing, which means that we can't specifically know exactly how old this bird is, but we know it's molted at least twice into an adult. So that would make it after 2nd year. We also have not had very many adult birds.
Very many
we like
adults.
less than a handful. This is like
the
our 3rd or 4th.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the closest up I've ever seen an adult sharpshin.
Yeah.
Like,
It's pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so tiny.
She is, yeah. The males are even smaller.
Oh my God, they're little puny little guys.
Yeah.
Just the eyeballs.
Buggy eyed. They just look so goofy. But like, if I was a warbler, I'd be
terrified.
Terrified, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, we can take standardized photos of this bird.
Yeah.
It's something that we do sometimes just to, in my own knowledge, I want to know if I'm right or wrong about something, and it's good to keep a record, like a visual record of it.
Sure.
Yeah. The extended wing photo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Adam, do you mind doing that? And we don't have like an official backboard, but this is a pretty good background, so I've been using this. So we have to kneel down like this, but we get standardized photos of the upper wing and under wing of both wings, a tail spread, and maybe just a headshot. It's nice to get a headshot of the adult accipiters because they always have such varying eye color.
Yeah. To try to compare the eye color from to the
and
molt.
this one, she's got like yellow on the, like a ring around the red is yellow.
Oh yeah. No, like inside the
Oh,
iris,
yeah.
like at the edge of the iris.
Yeah, it's like yellow on the outside and then red, which is super cool. Okay, that's everything. We can release her.
So this shed that we're in here at Bonney Butte is kind of seems like the standard raptor trapping shed blind. Right?
Yeah, it's pretty much how you would expect it. It is actually bigger than the ones that I'm used to.
Okay.
So it's pretty nice.
So we're, what is this, 8 feet by 12 feet or so? maybe?
Something like that.
So it's a luxury one?
It is luxury.
It's luxury.
It's more room than you strictly need for raptor trapping blind, but it's really useful for visitors.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause,
So you have a pretty extensive area here with a couple different trap setups, like we were talking about before. Why all the different types? Are you trying to get different things? Are you testing like the effectiveness of different ones?
Yeah, it's definitely, each raptor species has very specific constraints in terms of how to get it in a net and then in your hands. They all behave really differently, and they have different food preferences. So we have kind of the bare bones of a trapping site is like you need a lure bird.
Okay, so I want to cut in here real quick that we discussed safety measures that are taken for the lure birds, and we wanted to kind of explain lure birds. So for hawk banders, they need to lure in the hawks, and they use live birds for it. They are not bait birds, because bait indicates that you intend on that thing
Being eaten.
being eaten and leaving away. These are lure birds. So lure birds are very well taken care of. They have medical treatment. They only work every other day. They only work for an hour or so.
They're well fed.
They're well fed.
Well taken care of.
They have a vest, which they kind of explain a little bit in our recordings here, but they have a leather vest that protects all of their sensitive bits all the way around them. Basically, the only thing that's exposed is their head and their wings, and that's mostly so they can flap around. And they're pulled into little safety burrows and to the edges of the nets and stuff like that to make sure that these birds don't get injured in any way. And these birds are truly treated like they're part of the crew. So they're very well taken care of birds, and it's very clear that both Carrie and all of her assistant banders really care about this member of their team.
And it helps to have at least 2 different sizes, and we've got pigeons and starlings.
Okay.
So in theory, smaller birds will come in on the smaller starling, and bigger birds will come in on the bigger pigeon. But then you have like sharp-shinned hawks that come in on the pigeon, which is larger than it is. And then you've got even like a red tail will come in on a starling. So it's really interesting.
The sharpshins just weighing their options, like that pigeon looks injured, I could probably take it,
Yeah.
even though it's bigger than me.
Yeah, it's pretty, once you see them do it a couple times, it stops surprising you. But it's still pretty cool to see their boldness.
So the starlings and not doing anything right now. It's just chilling.
Mm-hmm.
How do you attract a raptor into the site with it?
Yeah, Adam can go ahead and show you. All of our lure birds can be manipulated on the lines that they're attached to.
Okay.
And they all have...
It's wearing a vest, right?
Like a little leather vest,
Yeah.
And we can kind of move it around. The starlings are on a bounce line, or I think it's called like a flyer line.
Okay.
So it's just one line that you can move the starling up and down, and the starlings are really prone to flapping a lot, so that's all the movement
So
you need.
just one bump, and then they sit there and flap for a little
That's
while.
how we got the
yeah.
sharp shins today, yeah. And
Yeah,
then,
he looks like, what the heck just happened to me?
I know.
Yeah, he's like shocked.
yeah, but the pigeons, on the other hand, are on like a loop of a lure line. It's a circular loop.
Okay.
And so, oh yeah, Adam, you can go ahead and show it. So the pigeons can be moved left to right and up and down. And that way you can, what we call popping them, where you get them to fly up a little bit.
I see.
And some pigeons are better at flapping than others.
This one's just not interested in anything.
Yeah, this is a pretty chill pigeon.
Oh, I see. There we go.
Yeah, we want the wings out and the flapping.
Yeah.
And
A more
also-
natural,
it
agitated
does,
behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the pigeons look like they are decoys.
Yeah. This one definitely looks like a decoy.
Yeah. And then once Adam pops it a couple times, he's going to take it to the middle of our bow net.
Okay.
And so now, a lot of the time, especially at this site, we don't see birds coming in. They just kind of appear.
Oh, they swoop over the ridge here and
Yeah.
they're right in.
It's so hard to see birds, but they totally see you, and they see the pigeon. So the couple times of popping could bring in a raptor without you knowing, and so we want to have that pigeon right at the bow net so that if a raptor were to land on it in a surprise way, we are ready to pull this trigger line, and then the raptor can be caught in the bow net.
Okay, and the bow net is manually activated as opposed to this other.
Yeah, exactly. This is like you have to fire the bow net for it to be triggered, and then that one is an automatic trigger that just goes when it feels
When there's enough
the
bouncing around
pressure,
of it.
the momentum of the bird going through the net. Yeah, and that's pretty much all we do all day.
And then you have mist nets.
Yeah, the mist nets work in all of these nets work for different situations. Like the bow net works if a raptor is really committed and fully lands on your pigeon.
Yeah.
A
Well, yeah,
lot of
because
the
it's going to
time.
have to be completely on the ground.
Yeah, you need it
with its wings
settled.
closed enough.
Exactly.
For the bow to fit
Yeah.
over it.
But then a lot of the times they aren't that committed, and that's when you've got mist nets to catch the ones that are kind of flaring off the pigeon, that come in and then decide, oh, maybe I don't want that, or something spooks them.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get them in a mist net on their way out.
Okay. And the angles of your mist nets, are these like these directionally specifically because in general they're coming from that direction, when they flare they're going to go that way?
Yeah, ideally, there's a lot of tinkering that goes on, and there's a lot of, in a trapper's head, there's so much like, well, if I move that North Pole 1 foot, is it going to, a 20% increase in the sharpshins that we catch? We do our best, but ultimately the birds can, they can move and fly in unpredictable ways.
Yeah.
So, but overall we've got our east bow and east net, and then a west bow and a west net. Because most of the time birds are either on the west or east. Sometimes they're overhead, but if there's a strong west wind, you're likely to have more birds in the west, and vice versa.
Okay. And this terrain, we're kind of on a finger that sticks out, like on a ridge.
We're on a ridge,
This sticks
definitely,
out.
yeah.
Does it end just past this tree line?
It continues.
Oh, the ridge just keeps
Yeah,
on going.
it
It
continues in
east.
this way, but on the back side of Obs, it kind of just drops off and
Okay.
then ends up in the valley.
Okay. So this is
So we're
kind of
gonna-
a mid ridge line sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
So
were you gonna say?
what has the season been like for the Hawkwatch? Has it been more or less?
So we are all new to Bonney, but as far as we can tell, it's a little slower than expected, or than in previous years, and that just happens. That could be a number of different reasons.
Okay.
It's really hard to tell yet, but we are getting birds. We're getting birds at over 100 now, which is really per day sometimes, which is really exciting. We definitely had a slower start, but it's good. It's we're basically at peak now, because beginning of September, end of August, beginning of September is slower, and then it climbs, and then into October is more or less your peak, and then
Okay.
it tapers off.
So I never get we've been to various Hawkwatches, and sometimes at Lucky Peak the birds are miles off and you don't get a good look at them, and the Hawkwatchers are just so in tune with the species they can see it when it's a dot out there, and others where they're just flying overhead. So at what distance do you think it's not worth trying to bring a bird in?
Oh, there's a Sharpie coming in to the right. Sorry.
No, good spot.
Yeah. It'll be kinda
All right, so it's coming back in. Coming right.
Keep going, sir. Keep going. Keep going. Pretty far.
Did you see it when it came back flying to the left? It looked like it went behind us. I thought.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think we just stick with the DG square instead of trying to go with the triple.
Okay.
Because I think we have a much better chance of catching it in that.
Yeah.
And it certainly could see that. That was cool.
That was a bit of excitement, real quick.
So now you know what we mean by coming out of nowhere.
Yeah. I don't remember what we were talking about
I don't.
before.
It was a little bit distracting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little bit.
Oh, it was how far away is a bird?
Yeah, how do you make the decision whether or not you're gonna try to attract it in?
But I think we try regardless.
Yeah, if we can see a
everything,
bird.
Truly.
We're
If we
gonna
can
try.
see it, it can see us.
Yeah.
So I've been hawk watching since I graduated college. Yeah, since I graduated college. So fall of 2021, I started at Bake Oven Knob in Pennsylvania. That's really close to Hawk Mountain. If you guys
Okay,
have heard of
sure.
that,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I think 15 miles upridge or something. Because East Coast Pennsylvania, there's like Hawkwatches
Every 25 feet.
every 25 feet,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah, so I started out there and kind of really got into it. And then that next spring, I started with the Mackinac Straits Raptor Watch doing the Mackinac Island count,
Okay.
which is my baby. I've done it for 4 years now, and I love it out there. And I've also worked at Hawk Ridge in Duluth, Minnesota the last 3 falls, and that's where I really learned about like hawk trapping and everything that's hawk related that's not hawk watching. And ever since then, I was able to get involved with owl banding at Hawk Ridge and see some of the diurnal trapping, and I was like, this is really cool, like this is something I really want to learn. And I got this job and have the experience to learn, and yeah, how it works here is, so Carrie's banding lead, she's here pretty much every day, and then the 4 of us like rotate through, so we each get like a day or 2 a week in the blind.
Okay.
Yeah, and Carrie's been great teaching us all this stuff, and yeah, no, it's super cool. It's really interesting. It's you just learn so much about birds. Both hawk watching and hawk trapping go hand in hand. Like hawk watching, you get like more information about population sizes and trends and stuff like that, and timing, just general population stuff, and then trapping is individual birds.
There's a bird out there.
Sorry.
Now we want to go
That's the reason we're
square.
here.
Well, tell me if you see. It's like in this. It was just cruising in the west going south. But yeah, be ready on the square.
Yeah. Okay.
Bird.
Oh, it's in the nest net. Yeah, it's getting out of the nest net. Oh, that's good stuff. Alright, Carrie's running. Oh,
No.
Go square. Go square.
Oh.
We could come back. I knew that was gonna happen.
it was just barely caught too.
They just don't get caught in these nets well.
So, Carrie, how long have you been banding?
I started raptor banding 2 years ago.
Okay.
I got the job as a crew member on the Hawkwatch crew in New Mexico. The Hawkwatch International site is at the Manzano Mountains there, and I did 2 seasons of that. And then this spring, I was on an island on Lake Superior doing spring raptor banding. But I've always loved animals and birds.
Yeah, I guess I never realized how variable like the work is. You know, that you have to. You're in Lake Superior, now you're here,
Yeah.
New Mexico. So yeah, you all get around.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, definitely.
Yeah, that's part of the fun.
So.
Yeah, I think we're from Sandy, which is the nearest like big city. It was about it was about 45 minutes to the Forest Road entrance,
And then
another half hour on the Forest Road.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another 20-minute hike.
Yeah.
To get to observation.
Yeah.
So the season out here, you start in mid-August. Is that what you said?
End of August.
End of August.
August 27th is the first day of the season.
Okay.
Out here.
And you start banding. You open both observation and the trapping site at the same time.
So we have to like build the banding blind
Yeah.
every year. So all of these pieces like come apart
Yeah.
and then they just stack in the woods behind us.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So we
Yeah, I see they're all marked and it's
Yeah.
just bolted.
Yeah, so we got up here on the 25th. We all met in Duffer at the ranger station. Jesse Watson, one of the, I don't even know what the team name is. It's long-term
LTC
monitoring
crew
Crew
migration.
lead.
He's going to be mad that we don't know this.
LTCMS or LTMCS, one of those.
Yeah, but no.
The lead.
Yeah, he's up there. He works with Dave Oliar, and he met us here with his dog Rufus. I miss Rufus so much. And we're able to like keep some of our gear at the ranger station, like the big wall tent and like the bows and some of the nets and stuff. So we all met there, picked up some stuff, drove up here, kind of just set up camp and unloaded, and on the next day we came up and built the blind and set up all the nets and stuff. And then it still took another day or two to finalize everything, and then I don't remember what day we actually started trapping, but we started counting on the 27th.
But it was in the last week in August.
It was
sometime in the last week.
before the 1st of September. I know that. It didn't take a super long time. We did have a good number of people up here to help. Yeah, no, it takes a lot of work to set this up. Because you have to take everything down. You can't leave anything up over the winter.
Yeah.
I mean, this would get destroyed from the snow. So. Yeah, and at the end of the season, in a month, we'll have to take everything down again. Which I'm not excited to do, but.
So last week of August until the middle of October?
So Halloween is our official end date.
Okay, all right, end of October.
The last handful of years, the crew has not been able to last that long up here because there's typically like a big snowstorm that is like predicted,
Yeah.
and we're on the top of the mountain. with a
You
very
don't want to be
treacherous
stuck
road.
up here.
We don't want to be stuck up here.
And especially if this structure isn't going to survive a snowstorm.
Yeah, so
Is there anything else important that you think our listeners should know about Hawkwatch and hawk banding?
Oh gosh. What an important question. It's really different than anything else I've experienced. I did not picture myself in this position a couple of years ago. I didn't even know this existed. When I first was on the Manzano's crew, I had no idea really what I was getting into, but like it kind of clicked with me. I've been really lucky to be trained by people that I really look up to and that have really high standards of ethics. That's really important to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not to be that person, but I'm vegan. I don't eat, I'm very much against animal suffering, and so it seems odd to be engaging in this, which requires the use of lure birds. But like I said, the people I was trained by really inspired me. And when you see the raptors and you have them in your hand and you start learning things about them, you know that it's the only way to get data on raptors.
Yeah.
And it's really special that we're able to do this and we're able to like pull these birds out of, their domain, the sky.
Convince them to come hang out with us for
exactly.
a few minutes.
It's just like a very magical feeling. I don't want to say we take it for granted, but we start getting in the swing of it where it feels very normal to be handling sharpshins and Cooper's hawks on a daily basis. And then sometimes you'll have a moment where you're like, oh my god, this is so amazing. And it's been really fun to be in my first position as lead bander and to these 3 people now on the crew, they hadn't done any raptor handling. Oh, here's a pigeon. They hadn't done any raptor banding before. And I remember the first day that we were open, we had a unexpectedly really good day. We were only open from we finished setting up this whole site at 1 p.m. on this day.
Okay.
That was my introduction to trapping too.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy.
I know. It was we were just setting up the site and then a sharpshin hawk just flies into the net. It was just traveling through.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, Matt, we have our first raptor. And he'd never seen a raptor in hand and just seeing the light in everyone's
that's so
eyes
cool.
when they see the bird. And we got lucky later that day. We were going to close at 5 p.m., which is pretty typical, close at 5 or in the evening.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, Adam, how long do you want to stay open? How are you feeling? And he was like, well, it's pretty fun to just kind of see what you can catch. And I was like, yeah, it is fun. I was like,
The light
okay.
in my eyes.
Yeah, the light in your eyes. And so I'm like, well, let's do it's 5 o'clock. Let me pop it one more time. And we pop the pigeon one more time. And our first red tail comes in.
Oh.
And it was classic, textbook. Came right in, pulled the bow.
Straight above.
Yeah. And then you get to be like, okay, Adam, this is a red-tailed hawk. Here you go. And that was really fun. So, yeah.
And so these vests, they're it's an attachment point to be able to pull the pigeons back into safety, but then also it's protective if the hawks get a hold of them, because it basically covers their entire chest, their entire back.
Yeah, and then
The only thing that's exposed is their head and their...
we added these additions to protect their flanks.
Okay, so it's got even more protection.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Carrie.
You're welcome. Thanks for visiting.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys got to see some birds. That's always exciting.
Yeah, it is.
So after talking with the observation team and the hawk banders a bit, we wanted to talk more about Hawkwatch International. So Dave was very generous with his time and joined us to chat more about the organization and the bigger picture on all this stuff.
Thanks for having me here. It's good to talk about the work that we do. I'm Dave Oliar. I'm the Director of Long-Term Monitoring and Community Science at Hawkwatch International. I've been there for going on 13 years now. And my role is I lead our teams that monitor raptor migration, teams that study the ecology and conservation of cavity adopting raptors like American kestrels and screech owls, and then lead a research team that studies small forest owls in southeast Arizona and Wasatch Mountains of Utah.
Oh, very cool. So do you get around to all the different sites every year?
I don't make every site every year, but I go to some sites each year. So eventually I cycle through, and the rest of my team gets to go to those places too. So we visit the sites as much as possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. When we were out talking to the crew, they were talking about you a bit, and it was
all positive.
No.
There was nothing negative.
No, it was fun because they were talking about you like they know you really well, and so it's obvious that you guys all have a great relationship and a working relationship, which I think is really cool. So tell us a little bit about Hawkwatch International.
Sure. Hawkwatch International is approaching 40 years of being being Hawkwatch International. We are a research and conservation education organization that are geared towards the conservation, education, and research about birds of prey. And we our mission is to conserve the environment through those three things. And so we have a lot of different research programs studying birds of prey globally. And then we have a lot of education programs where we try to get out and communicate and engage the public and students and schools and other learners about what we do.
So in addition to just all of the research and education, Hawkwatch International operates specific Hawkwatch sites around the country, right?
Yes, so we were founded to monitor Hawkwatch, to monitor raptor migration. That's how we got our start. We do a lot of other things now too, but we have a migration network that is sort of the backbone and foundation of what we do as an organization. And so we currently operate 8 migration sites, mostly in the West down to the Texas coast. Throughout our history, we've partnered with or run a number of other sites, but those have sort of popped on and off based on what we've learned at those sites and our ability to support them.
So how of those 8 sites, how were they selected? I feel like, to me, I always think of hawk migration as a central or east flyway in the U.S. sort of thing, but you said it's mostly in the West. The sites that you have selected. How did you Hawkwatch International select where they monitor specifically?
Sure. Yeah, I'll address your first part of your question about thinking of hawkwatching as an East Coast kind of thing or Eastern Flyway thing. There are many watch sites and sites that might monitor raptor migration in the East. It kind of started there with Hawk Mountain and Cape May and Hawk Ridge and all those other sites. Mm-hmm. Hawkwatch International was born when our founder came out West and realized that there weren't very many Hawkwatch sites here. And so if you looked at the map back then, all the dots of where people were counting raptor migration was heavily weighted towards the East Coast. It's still heavily weighted towards the East Coast today. Pennsylvania loves their hawkwatching. There's a lot of hawkwatch sites in Pennsylvania, but Hawkwatch was founded to fill that gap in the western part of North America, and so our sites are spread out in those sorts of areas. In fact, like when our founder Steve Hoffman first came out here, there was some debate about whether raptors even migrated in the western part of North America. And so we started to fill. We answered that question very quickly. Yes, they do. And ever since then, we've been monitoring flights at our sites.
Okay, so it's just to fill the lack of data that was not coming out of the western half of the U.S.
Yes, yeah. And so there's lots of sites in the east, and there's now our network, and then a couple of other sites in the west. And so we focus on operating our sites, but we partner with the other groups. And there's actually an organization that pulls all of those together called the Hawk Migration Association, or HMA. And so we partner and work with them together to look at trends in hawk data across the continent.
Okay. Yeah, I do want to talk about that, but I wanted to follow up on the like specific sites. So we just went out to Bonney Butte, which is in Oregon, just south of Mount Hood or southeast of Mount Hood National Forest. Way out there. It was I think once you get to the edge of civilization, it's another 45-minute drive. Up into the mountains. So it's slightly rural. Really good cell phone service at the Hawkwatch itself, which I was shocked at. It's just high enough for that. But that's, as far as I could understand, that was the most rural site that Hawkwatch International operates, and then the other ones are slightly less rural, like the Corpus Christi one that you're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, I might not say rural. It is like Bonney Butte is close to Portland, but like you say, not in Portland. It's out. It's in wilderness where we're in a wilderness area there by Mount Hood. So we have that one. Corpus Christi is probably our most urban. Like we're in a city center that's down on the southern Texas coast along the coastal bend. Our other sites, many of them are ridge tops in the west, on Forest Service land or Bureau of Land Management land or National Park Service land. We have a count site on the south rim of the Grand Canyon too.
Okay. And how did the specific sites get chosen? Was there like looking at a broad map of this is a section that didn't have data, or were they specifically chosen? Because there's lots of big tall hills in Oregon that you could be standing on top of.
There are, and so when we started looking, and this predated my being here, right? So with Hawkwatch, but basically going out and doing pilot counts at different sites and saying this looks like a north-south running ridge that ought to funnel birds and be a good source of uplift. So let's go see if we see birds migrating there, right? And so the teams of Hawkwatchers would go and do that in numerous places and look for the sites that seem to have the most consistent or the largest volume flights most consistently with the best view lines to the north for the fall sites, so you can look and see what's coming down. And so there was a whole lot of pilot work going into finding the sites that eventually are the sites in our network where we have long-term data.
Okay, so the hawk counters are out there counting hawks, and at the end of the year, you have a count that they did during that time frame. How does that data get used?
Yeah, so our teams each fall. You think the Bonney Butte site had 5 team members that you visited, crew member 5, and they count for 300 to 500 hours plus a year of just looking in the sky and counting hawks and getting those count totals that you're asking about. It's a whole lot of effort to boil it down to one number, right? So we standardize by effort, so number of hawks seen per 100 hours or per 10 hours. And it's not just total raptors, but these guys are our crews are identifying what species are flying through, right? So we can say our American kestrels changing at the Bonney Butte site over the years. Are we seeing more kestrels or fewer kestrels, or about the same number of kestrels on average in that migration window that we're monitoring? And we have that data for all of our sites, and we can look to see just at one site, do we see a trend in the counts? Is it going up or down? And we can look at all of our network sites. Do we see the same thing? And then we can also look at sites from count data from sites across the continent to see, do we see continental trends in any given species? And I'm mentioning American kestrels because it's one of the species that we've seen declining counts in from migration data. So all of those hours of counting get boiled down to one average for average count per unit effort for a given species at that site for this year, and it adds to the long-term story about American kestrels at Bonney Butte, if you want to think of it that way, right? And at some of our sites at Bonney Butte, this is the 31st year of that story, right? We've been counting for this is year 31. We have a couple of other sites that are in year 43 or year 40. Our Manzano Mountain sites in New Mexico just turned 40. So this is our 40th year. This is our 29th year counting at Corpus Christi site. And so these long-term trends tell us what's going on with those different species in different geographies across the West, and then we compare that with data from across the continent to understand the story for different species and tell us if we should focus our time and effort on understanding what's going on in the case of declines, or showing that yes, in the case of species that might be on the increase, these are conservation success stories. So if we look at things like bald eagles or peregrine falcons, you look at their migration count data recently, and those counts are increasing, and that indicates that conservation efforts for those species are doing what they're intended to do.
So that data can really help inform decisions that are being made on the ground conservation in certain places, and also help figure out, should we be looking at pesticide use and how that impacts these species. So it really has a pretty broad reaching implications.
It can. I like to, when I'm talking to people that are like, what are you doing? This seems crazy to have these people out here every fall doing this. And what's the point of it is I liken it to, when you go to a doctor, what's the first thing they do? They take vitals, right? So it's whether it's temperature or heart rate, right? They do that, and based on what that number is or indicates, then they do more tests if they need to, right? And so migration count data is a nice way to say, oh, we need to pay more attention to American kestrels, and researchers and agencies that have the resources to support managing and research on those sorts of things. We show them those data, share those data, and hope that they'll do what they suggest we should do. And we have a very large American kestrel research program because our migration data suggested that we need to look into American kestrels, and there are lots of other groups doing the same thing because of those data.
So I was going to ask, with the going with the same analogy of doctors getting your vitals when you go in, and Hawkwatch International is being that the triage, getting those vitals, figuring out what the trends are currently doing. Is Hawkwatch International directly involved in coming up with what the problem is, creating the research and doing the work to figure out what the problem is, or is Hawkwatch International more focused on diagnosing the symptoms of, we're seeing this decline at this level during this time of year, versus trying to figure out why that decline is?
Yeah, it's actually a little bit of both, right?
Okay.
So I mentioned we have an American kestrel research program trying to understand what's driving those declines that we see on migration. So that is now in its 12th year, and it's a pretty extensive program. We're looking at how urbanization impacts kestrels. We're looking at rodenticide impacts on kestrels. We're tracking kestrels to study their movements and survival, and so lots of things. And those are all because of that count data saying something's going on with kestrels, right? At Golden Eagle research, we have our conservation science team does a lot of Golden Eagle research, and a lot of that stemmed from seeing the same sorts of trends in golden eagles. And so we don't have the capacity to do research on every single species, but we see what those data suggest and try to identify the most urgent or most important questions and where to focus our time and effort.
Yeah.
Well, and for anything that you're not able to tackle, raptors are a huge thing that a lot of people like, and I'm sure there's colleges and universities that you all are working with too to solve some of these issues that you might be seeing.
Yeah, definitely. We share our data is available on our website. We talk to our agency partners locally and at larger scales and share what we find. And I mentioned earlier that we partner with other groups to get a continental scale view of what's going on. And so we have a partnership that was called the Raptor Population Index, or RPI. And that's Hawkwatch International, Hawk Mountain Sanctuary, the Hawk Migration Association, and Birds Canada. So 4 organizations. And we basically pool all of the migration data, analyze it in the same way, right? And then integrate and synthesize those results into something that we can then share with others to help guide, where to pay attention yet again, right? And so that's a partnership that's pretty important, and we have a lot of our data feeds into that, as the data for the most recent update of RPI that we just finished has 80 count sites that are contributing data to that work, and there are hundreds of count sites that are collecting data across North and South America. The sites that we pull data from have to be certain, they have to have monitored for 10 years, and they have to do their monitoring in a standardized way. And once they hit that threshold, if they want to be part of that, then we pull their data into RPI2.
Okay, and so that 10-year, so if a site's been doing it for 15 years, and so they've passed that 10-year threshold, do you collect all 15 years of their data, or you just do from that 10-year going forward?
No, we use all of the data that they have. So we have some sites that, we break it into, we have 10-year analyses, 20-year analyses, and longer. There aren't a whole lot of sites that are, older than 30 or 40 years. They're aging in, so we'll start to have longer term pictures. But it's also looking at those short term trends, like 10 or 20-year trends, kind of show you what's changed recently, right? Versus long term.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to get more involved in Hawkwatch International, help out the organization, well, I know when we went up to Bonney Butte, they were very happy to have visitors. And before we started recording here, you were talking about down in Corpus, you have volunteers that have been volunteering there and just show up and they help out because they've been doing it so long. They know the protocol, they know what's going on. Is that one way anybody could just get involved? If you wanted to get involved, go out to these sites and help. Is there other ways people can help Hawkwatch International accomplish these goals?
Yeah, I'd say in the West, if you live near some of our sites or want to travel out west to see spectacular sites like you saw Bonney Butte, right? That you doesn't beat spending a day staring at Mount Hood all day looking for hawks, as long as the mountain's out. But yeah, visit our sites, support your local count site by going and volunteering or visiting or supporting the organization that runs it. If it's Hawkwatch, we'd love to have supporters. If it's sites in other parts of North America, they need your support too. There's opportunities to donate and support Hawkwatch's efforts on the Hawkwatch International webpage, hawkwatch.org. There's opportunities to support those efforts on the RPI page, which is rpi-project.org. And so you can visit those sites and see. The other cool site that if you don't know anything about hawk watching and you're hearing this and you're like, where can I go watch? Hawkcount.org is a site run by the Hawk Migration Association. And basically they are a clearinghouse for count data. So you can go and you can see a map and see, okay, I'm going to click on my state. Are there any hawk count sites that are Hawkwatch sites that I can go look at? And it'll give you usually directions. You can see what they counted yesterday or last year or whatever, and go and find the site near you and kind of follow along with the season if you want to do that too. So that's a lot of fun.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was fun to talk to you about this stuff.
Great.
And I'm glad that we got to get out and see it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out. I'm glad you guys had a good day up there. I hope you go back.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Dave, for sitting down with us. That was great to talk with you about more of the broad picture of what Hawkwatch International does. And I kind of thought I'd want to throw in here a little bit of what all of your Hawkwatchers feel about their job.
So what do you all like about doing this? What's your favorite thing?
I like that it doesn't feel like a job. I don't want to say that's why I keep doing these jobs. It's not, but it is really awesome having a kind of career that makes you feel like you're not working. I love birds. I like, doing stuff that involves birds, and being able to kind of make a career and somewhat get by doing these field positions. It's a lot of fun, and it's really interesting stuff. You learn so much, and I know that the work I'm doing is actually impactful. Working for all these long-term monitoring, sites, all this information is great for when you're tracking migration and how trends are changing over years, and even just from year to year stuff changes. And it's just, I know that my work that I'm doing is helpful in conservation and stuff like that. I can't imagine doing a job where I'm just like making money for some other person for no reason other than just to make money. Like I'm not about that life. But I love the outdoors. There are days where it drives me insane sitting out here for 9 hours and seeing nothing, and I'm like, I'm losing my mind. But that's all part of the job. You gotta be okay with being bored every once in a while, or out here more than every once in a while. But it's okay. So we live in a really cool spot, and I'm living with really cool people, and we have a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Woo. How about you all? Who wants to go next? What do you like about this job?
What I like about this job, so many things. Just piggybacking off of Gracie. I think most of us here, we love birds, raptors, and bird conservation. And this place has a stunning view. And I'm from Maine, and this is a good excuse to get out to Oregon and see another part of the country. I'd known about Hawkwatch International since I was in high school, and they've always been on my radar, and finally put my name in their hat, and I'm here, and I'm happy to be here. And one of the coolest parts about this job is getting visitors up here and having groups come up and being able to show them what field work looks like and data collection. And when we're lucky enough to get a bird in the blind, we'll do little presentations for visitors, and it's just cool to see their excitement, and just get potentially like the next generation, or just people in general interested in birds and the outdoors at large. And yeah, it's just it's rewarding in that way. And like Gracie said, the crew's great. Hawkwatch International's great, and yeah, woohoo! Good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to just repeat everything that Matt just said, but basically, yeah, being able to be outside every day is just such a treat, and it's so beautiful. I mean, again, we've talked about this to you a million times, but it's like the best office you could possibly have. So that's pretty cool. Like Matt, I'm also from New England, and so it's really amazing to be able to come see these landscapes that are so different than...
You don't have this view in Maine?
Well, I mean, there's definitely mountains in New England, but not volcanoes. It's a little bit different.
So you didn't grow up being terrified of volcanoes and earthquakes all the time?
No, we were actually just talking about earthquakes.
I grew up watching Dante's Peak and like, oh, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, not quite.
No?
But yeah, so that's a
Just
really
us, I
cool
guess.
part of this job. And similarly to Matt, I really enjoy the outreach part of it. It's just so exciting to be able to like show other people what we do and see the excitement on their face. And like, I mean, like, not a lot of people get to see like raptors in hand up close and personal, and that's just a really cool thing to share with people. And I don't know, like sparking joy in other people is just like so rewarding. So that's a pretty cool part of this job. And again, echoing everybody else, the crew's pretty cool. Yeah, so it's been nice to live with everybody and work with everybody. And just, yeah, you can learn something from everybody, and so just learning from everybody from all these pieces is really cool. Like, I mean, so many people bring so many different things to this team, so that's been really nice.
It's awesome.
Yeah. There's a lot of really major pros, I'd say.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
So although we didn't see a whole ton of birds while we were out in the field, it was a great experience, and we love going to these sites and seeing birds and seeing the whole experience overall. So thank you to the Hawkwatch International team for allowing us to come up and bug you all day. We really
Well, I know we were very distracting.
we appreciate you joining in with us and educating us while we were up there. So if you get a chance to go to a Hawkwatch International site, make sure to do so. Ask tons of questions. Check it out, because these people are doing really important work that impacts the birds that we love, and also, you know, the world that we're in.
So thank you, Hawkwatch International, for having us out there, and thank you guys all for listening to our podcast. We hope you enjoyed it and or learned something new. Please, please, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Music, or anywhere else that you listen to us. If you would like to connect with us on the socials, you can follow us at Hannah Goes Birding and Erik Goes Birding on Instagram. You can follow our Facebook page at Hannah and Erik Go Birding, or email us at hannahyanderikgobirding@gmail.com. You can also check out our website at www.gobirdingpodcast.com. Tell us what you think and share the love of birding with your friends.